The death of the middle class isn't a sudden explosion, it's a slow-motion collapse that has been decades in the making. To truly grasp the gravity of the situation, we have to look at the Great Decoupling of 1971. For decades, productivity and wages moved in lockstep. As workers became more efficient, their pay rose accordingly. But in the early 70s, those lines diverged. Productivity continued to soar thanks to technology and globalization, but inflation-adjusted wages flattened. We entered an era where we worked harder to produce more, yet the rewards were diverted elsewhere. The illusion of wealth. As wages stagnated, the system faced a crisis. How do you keep a consumer-driven economy running if the consumers can't afford the products? The answer was debt. We replaced rising incomes with easy credit. This created a phantom middle class. People were still driving nice cars and living in large suburban homes, but they didn't own them. The banks did. The 2008 financial crisis was the first major tremor of this structural instability, revealing that the foundation of the middle class was built on a mountain of subprime promises. Today, that debt has moved from houses to every other sector of life. Student loans have reached trillions of dollars, effectively mortgaging the future earnings of an entire generation before they even enter the workforce. We are seeing the subscriptionification of existence. You no longer buy software, you rent it. You no longer own your music, you stream it. In many cities, the dream of home ownership has been replaced by perpetual institutional renting. We are transitioning from a nation of owners to a nation of users. The hyperinflation of necessity. The most deceptive part of this decline is the flat screen paradox. Critics often point to the fact that electronics and clothing are cheaper than ever as proof that life is better. But you cannot live in a flat screen TV. You cannot use a smartphone as a down payment. While discretionary goods have plummeted in price, the three pillars of middle-class stability, housing, healthcare, and education, have experienced hyperinflation. In 1970, the average house cost roughly twice the average annual salary. Today, in many metropolitan hubs, it is 7 to 10 times that salary. Healthcare has become a predatory lottery where a single unlucky diagnosis can wipe out a lifetime of savings. Education, once the great equalizer, has become a debt trap that requires a decade or more of high-interest payments just to reach the entry-level rungs of the professional world. These are not luxuries, they are the ante required to play the game of modern life, and the cost of entry is now higher than the median salary can support. The rise of the Precariat. Beneath the economic data lies a psychological shift. We are moving from a society of employees to a society of contractors. The rise of the gig economy and the erosion of labor unions have stripped away the safety nets that once defined middle-class security. This has given birth to a new class, the Precariat. These are people who might look middle class on paper. They have degrees and white-collar titles, but they live in a state of permanent precarity. They have no pension, no job security, and no predictable future. This instability has profound effects on the social fabric. When people feel the ground shifting beneath them, they stop taking risks. They delay marriage, they have fewer children, and they lose faith in the institutions that promised them a path upward. The American dream has shifted from a goal of thriving to a goal of simply not drowning. The barbell economy. What we are witnessing is the hollowing out of the center. The economy is becoming a barbell. On one end, a small, highly mobile elite of tech-savvy owners and capital managers who are capturing nearly all the gains of the digital age. On the other, a massive and growing service class that fuels the convenience of the elite. The middle, the manufacturing jobs, the mid-level management, the stable administrative roles, is being incinerated by automation and artificial intelligence. In this new reality, hard work is no longer the primary variable for success. Access to capital is. If you own assets, stocks, real estate, or intellectual property, you are riding the wave of the future. If you only own your labor, you are fighting an uphill battle against an algorithm that is designed to make that labor obsolete. The institutionalization of the economy. The final nail in the coffin is the institutionalization of the economy. We are seeing a massive transfer of assets from individuals to corporations. In the housing market, private equity firms are buying up single-family homes by the thousands, turning what was once the primary vehicle for middle-class wealth into a corporate profit center. When a corporation buys a house, that equity leaves the community forever. It becomes a dividend for a shareholder instead of a college fund for a local child. This is the slow death. It isn't a crash, it's a leak. It's the feeling of running faster and faster just to stay in the same place. It is the realization that the old rules, get a degree, work hard, save money, no longer lead to the promised destination. The middle class was the heartbeat of the modern world, a stabilizing force that proved a fair society was possible. As that heartbeat fades, we are left with a society that is more productive than ever before, yet more divided, more indebted, and more anxious than at any point in the last century. The question is no longer when the middle class will disappear, it's what kind of world will be left in the void it leaves behind.